This one has dealt with me reading many, many books over our long relationship. The most recent one of just this month was The CHONKY BOY, that is House of Flame and Shadow. That's not what this video is about, nor is it about The Golem of Brooklyn by Adam Mansbach that I just read yesterday and like need to get my copy of as quickly as possible outside the library. What it's going to momentarily be about is The Only Purple House in Town by Anna Guire, a book that every time I read, I have to tell Ben about what I'm reading. And sometimes I do good details and like important, like, oh yeah, I'm reading rom-com, here's XYZ. The Only Purple House in Town, I didn't give Ben nearly as much information as I should have, but at the same time, I gave you the information I was given while reading, and I wasn't given a lot, and I just finished it, and I think I read a vague scene of the two main characters having shapeshifted and doing sleepy times. And it was very confusing, and I didn't expect that. Like
adult sleepy times.
Adult sleepy times. And I think that's what I read. I don't really know. It was the most like Fade to Black book ever. And like the other Anna Guire books, they were a little bit more detailed because they were adult rom-coms. More like
love you so much.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch 90s era, but like cutesy and like, ooh, look at us, we're witches, and ooh, look, men. And then this one was like, oh look, I'm an awkward emotions vampire, and here's my hawk lover, and like they're a hawk shifter, and it was just their third act breakup was entirely unnecessary and easily could have been avoided. It could have been avoided from the start, and that's the most infuriating thing about it, is like the guy is rich and has lots of money, and he moves into the house with the love interest very vaguely because he gets like, she assumes that like he was at the same cafe that she was at to like interview for the house that she was turning into an Airbnb, and then he just awkwardly agreed, and then he panic agreed, and the man was very autistic coded, and I don't know if that was like intended or not, but he's just an awkward man that can shapeshift into a bird, and she's just
so all of that besides the can shapeshift into a bird bit, that was all I was given context to. So randomly later on in another explanation going, oh yeah, she might be an emotional vampire, I thought you were speaking metaphorically until you said, and the other guy turns into a bird. There was, through all the description you gave me prior, there was no mention of any supernatural anything. So I thought it was just a rom-com.
Nope.
And then they were shapeshifting.
Nope, he's a shapeshifter. That's been established since the beginning. I just didn't tell that to Ben. I also vaguely forgot, because randomly he'll be like, I have to go fly now. And then he'd just go upstairs, open his window, and fly for the evening and come back. And be like, I feel better about myself now. And then as he got more invested in the cute little house and all the roommates and all the adorable people, he was like, man, I have a family now. I guess I shouldn't just turn into a bird and go off and live my life in the woods.
Because that's a thought that happens every now and then. It's just, I'm going to be a bird.
It's not like the worst thing I've ever read. And I have had a very odd range of what I've read this month. Like we've had that one, and I feel like I'm missing a book. No, is this only book 3 for the month?
This is being recorded on the 12th. You are on book 4.
No. Am I? Book calendar, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, sorry, because the other book I forgot. I gave Hunt on Dark Waters to our lovely friend Leo. That one I just read.
One every 3 days for those that can do math.
Except for the House of Flame and Shadow that took me almost a week. Because it came out that Tuesday and I finished it on Sunday. And that's rookie numbers.
To be fair, you are also multiple booking.
Yeah.
You read 3 books at a time.
I've been controlling it and only doing 2 at a time. But yeah, so I started this one.
Your self-control is amazing.
I started this one. I started the Star Wars Eye of Darkness, which I'm going to go back to. But I also need to do the Charles Apollo Burning Maze book, because that's due back sooner. And the Eye of Darkness probably won't be due back sooner, because I think I'm one of the only people in Juneau reading it outside of the other person I got into the High Republic era of Star Wars at the bookstore. So yeah, this is my... I'm trying to control the unhinged tangent, but like it's
a tangent. The intention is to be unhinged.
It was bad. It was really bad, and it's a shame because I liked the other books. Like it's Witch Please, Boss Witch, and Extra Witchy, all by Anna Guire in the Fix It Witches universe, and it's a cute little like slice of life book. But I'm just so infuriated because so much conflict could have been avoided, And like these aren't. I'm just disappointed because I really like the concepts, and I feel like they should be they're like Hallmark adjacent. They're clean, easy, like turn your brain off, like cuteness, but a little spicy, quote, quote. And I say that loosely because this was the least of all of them because they're both just so awkward. Also, they were taking dance classes this entire book, and I only got like one time of them doing dance classes, 2 times of them doing dance classes together. And I'm just sad because that was a really cute little subplot of like, I'm going to take dance classes. I would love to take dance classes, but I don't know if I have the money. And then she was like, I'm going to treat myself. We're going to take dance classes. Oh no, are you going to say yes? And he's like, yes, of course I'll take dance classes with you. And then that's how she partially, like, that's how it starts to be implied that she might be a fae because another person who knew her grandma was like, oh, it's lovely to see one of your people. I haven't seen them in so long, milady. And I'm like, clearly she's a fae because you don't, like, that's some fae BS. And it's fine, but like, so she's the magical fae princess? That's where we're ending it?
It's also, the main conflict of the whole thing was just the dude was paying for everything because he's rich.
Yeah, and then he felt awkward because he was like too awkward to be like, by the way, because she thought he was a house flipper because he was in town helping with his grandma's house. And he didn't like panic and go, no, actually my real job is I develop apps. I was just helping my grandma sell her house because she's retired and like moved and I was doing a nice thing. She also just assumed, oh, cool, wow, he's so talented. He develops apps and flips houses. So cool. Wow, he must have a lot of money, was a thought at some point. And then when he helps pay to get the witches to help, like, fix the house up because of other, like...
Because that's a phrase.
Sentence, but, like, it's a really old Victorian house, and they were trying to get their house, like, fixed up to code, and they were like, oh, well, the witches can help. They can do a spell to help, like, if there's a...
That's also a sentence.
I know, their codes need to get fixed, and so they were like, oh, we'll just get the local coven to help, like, fix stuff if we pay them.
Now, hang on, out of curiosity, was it, like, magical code, like, it's gotta have certain wardings? They were just following, like, OSHA regulation, and it was just witches with, like, OSHA badges.
Basically, they were going to fix all, like, the electrical stuff in the house. And, like, a lot of the, like, because the wood isn't technically, like, living, they don't need, like, they have all these different terms for the different, like, I don't know, because they didn't tell me, Ben. They didn't give me enough answers. And I'm not giving you guys any answers either. I'm just...
We're having a great time.
Instead, go read The Golem of Brooklyn by Anne Mashback and cry. This is a much better book to go spend your time reading. I was like, oh, I'm going to take my time because this book is all, like, heavy and sad and dealing with anti-Semitism. And then I read it in, like, a day because I have no control. Go spend time reading this one. Go read that one. That one's a lot better. Only Purple House in Town, massive disappointment. Like, 2 out of 5 because I'm being nice. Ben... What have you learned from my tangents? Have you learned anything?
I love you so much. I have learned I love you so much.
You knew that already, though.
I know, but I don't know anything about these books. You were talking about a house flipper who's also an app developer for like 2 days, and then you dropped they're also an eagle.
He's a raven, I think.
Great.
Hawk? He's a hawk.
They're a bird.
He's a bird.
Cool.
He's a bird and she's a fae, and they live happily ever after in their
question mark.
It is a very cute, like, dynamic, but also if I have one more character in the book, I ship them, I'm gonna just gouge my eyes out. Because I like it when that happens offhandedly in a TV show, but I can't handle it when it's in a book. I don't know why, but when other characters like, oh, I ship them, I'm like, oh, that was cute. That was very meta of you. That's fine. But when it's in a book, it hurts a little different.
It's even more meta because then it's like, of course they're going to get together.
Yeah, like in the book, it's like they're looking at you as you're reading. In the show, I know they're not looking at me in the screen, but like I accept it. That's where I'm going to...
Looks into camera.
That's where I'm going to end this. Anything you want to say in this almost 10-minute rant?
Love you so much.
Love you too. All right, bye guys.
Copyright 2024 FSF Podcast. Reference any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpopcast.com.